A company operates a number of member accounts within an AWS organization and uses a finance account to store confidential employee records on Amazon S3. The S3 bucket has both encryption and versioning enabled, and it is configured to block all public access. In addition to supporting encryption at rest, a solutions architect would like to mandate the use of encryption in transit, in order to ensure that only HTTPS requests are permitted to access this bucket data. How should the solutions architect implement this requirement? Configure an S3 bucket policy with an explicit allow policy that will be applied when a condition check resolves the value of the resource key AWS secure transport to true. Configure an S3 bucket policy with an explicit deny policy that will be applied when a condition check resolves the value of the resource key AWS secure transport to false. Configure an IAM role to permit full access to Amazon S3 for all AWS users. Or configure a service control policy, SCP, to explicitly allow the finance member account access to use the Amazon S3 service. The correct answer is, configure an S3 bucket policy with an explicit deny policy that will be applied when a condition check resolves the value of the resource key AWS secure transport to false. The solutions architect should configure an S3 bucket policy with an explicit deny policy that will be applied when a condition check resolves the value of the resource key AWS secure transport to false. Amazon S3 is a fully managed, highly reliable, and highly scalable object-based storage system that persists data within distinct containers known as buckets. An S3 bucket policy contains resource-based security policy statements with explicit allow and deny actions to precisely describe the permitted access to the bucket and its object data. By default, an S3 bucket will serve data to both HTTP and HTTPS requests. In the described scenario, to ensure encryption in transit, only HTTPS protocol requests should be accepted. In effect, a policy statement explicitly denying access for HTTP requests, identified with a statement condition that resolves the resource key AWS secure transport to false, will ensure that only HTTPS requests are permitted. This bucket policy configuration will meet the scenario requirement to facilitate S3 bucket encryption in transit for all permitted requests to retrieve this employee data.